Episode 27, Pit Stop Podcast. We're going to give you 3, 4, maybe 5, who knows, marketing strategies to market to your ride-sharing drivers. Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, all those guys. See how it goes. Pit Stop Podcast 27. So Chris, we talked about this the other day. Finding that niche and finding those areas to help increase sales, attract new customers. We were talking about ride sharing drivers and things to implement to attract those drivers, specials, incentives. Those things are great, but we also have to have kind of that. What's that marketing strategy to help
bring them
get them in and get that attention out there, that awareness, right? So today we wanted to just kind of follow up off of that podcast and throw out some some strategies that can be easily implemented to try to generate that traffic, right? Mm-hmm. First, kind of up at the top of the list, easy to do, paid search and in building out some campaigns that are relevant to the category, relevant to those search terms that those Uber drivers might be searching for.
And they are searching for it.
They absolutely.
Google has the tool in Google search where if you start typing for something, mm-hmm. it tries to think what you're trying to say. And so it will give you all these different ideas. So if you just type in Uber driver and then you type D, it'll say discounts. And so these people are looking for
repairs, service, whatever that might be, right? Once again, easy to implement paid search campaigns. Get those implemented at cheap dollars, and those, there's probably not going to be a lot of people competing on those terms, so your cost per clicks are going to be low.
Get ahead of the curve,
so it's short dollars. You're owning that space, mm-hmm. right? You're planting that flag where you're saying we own this, right? And we're going to be that destination for all Uber drivers. And come here. And once again, we just keep using Uber and Lyft, right? And we know that there's different ride-sharing, services from market to market to market. There's some that we're not going to talk about, right? Too many to list. SEO, from a very localized standpoint, building out pages, specific landing pages and content around, those ride-sharing services in your marketplace, so that if you don't want put those ad dollars out there, you're going to come up from an organic standpoint, and you're becoming that credible thought leader. Mm-hmm. You're building out content with relevant relevant content around what they're looking for,
right?
And featuring and highlighting. You can feature and highlight all of those specific discounts and offerings.
Right. And throughout, the sales department, parts, service, doing specific landing pages for all of those with varying keywords as far as, whatever city or state you live in. So you can have, Uber service discounts in Boston, something of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Social media is, really easy, is an easy one, right? Creating targeted ads, targeted content around, people who are interested in ride sharing, people who work for Uber. You can segment, create all those campaigns based upon those parameters, mm-hmm. right? And that's very easy, very targeted. You can mine social media for content, and
you can mine it or you can create it yourself. Because we've basically worked through paid, owned, and earned, social media being earned media, where you can have content that you create and your hashtags might be Uber or Uber service or Lyft service. Mm-hmm. And to your point, mine content, who's talking about this. And that's the great thing about Twitter, is you can actually enter the conversation and drive these consumers, these Uber and Lyft drivers to, your landing page or your service that you're offering.
That's a really good point. Creating that content and owning that conversation, creating that conversation and that dialogue where, you might not hit the Uber driver, but somebody might be in the back seat, right, and going from point A to point B in the back seat of of an Uber, and they're searching for something, and they're searching Uber or Lyft on Twitter, and they see it, and you may pique their interest and say, hey, Bob, my Uber driver, did you see that such and such dealership is offering this? Like, that's kind of cool. Did you know about that? Or a family member, right, that knows that you drive, for Uber and Lyft, it may see it, and they get that out there to you. So really great point, Chris, about that. And the fourth kind of idea or thought or strategy is Reddit.
Yeah, and Reddit's great. I mean, Reddit has a ton of communities, enthusiasts. Uber and Lyft is one of many. So there's subreddits. If you're not familiar with Reddit, they call it the front page of the internet. And there's millions and millions of people that use Reddit. They get their news from Reddit, information from Reddit, how-tos from Reddit. I know that a lot of do-it-yourselfers are on Reddit. There's a lot of Lyft and Uber subreddits with thousands of members. So you can,
and they're usually all other drivers.
They're all
right.
Yeah, they have subreddits that are for Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, and then there's all these different subreddits, and basically subreddits are just themes that you can subscribe to. And so if it's an Uber driver subreddit, everything in that subreddit is for Uber drivers. So that's a great opportunity to either enter the conversation. And Reddit also has advertising. It's a social media channel, just like Facebook and Reddit, where you can put ad dollars and target those specific subreddits with these discounts, deals, or promotions that your dealership is offering for these ride-sharing drivers.
Cheap ad dollars.
Cheap. And again, we keep saying we're ahead of the curve here. We're trying to get you guys ahead of the curve. So when everybody else is there, you're not paying tons of money.
Yeah. I mean, this is, low hanging fruit where, you can be at a bunch of different touch points, right? And targeted touch points where, to your point, there's all these different subreddits and these different communities on Reddit. Reddit's the fourth largest website in the country, seventh largest in the world, right? And it's continuing to grow and
build out their advertising platform as well. Their ad platform wasn't as robust as it used to. If
you're a dealer group like Group One, Penske, AutoNation, these big Berkshire Hathaway, where you own dealerships all over the country and in big markets where these where ride sharing is so prevalent and highly used, and there's lots of drivers. I mean, come on, like this is such kind of a no-brainer to seed those spaces.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And get out there. There's also ride sharing podcasts, and I believe it's the ride sharing guys or the ride sharing boys podcast, and it's a very popular podcast, and it's all about ride sharing, right? And so getting involved in on sites like that, like I'm sure that they're part of the Google Display Network, right? So you can run targeted ads on there,
or just have them give you a shout on the podcast in the beginning.
Yeah, and so things to think about. I think there's like 5 there, right?
Threw in an extra one.
Threw in just a little.
You're welcome.
Yep.
For our valued and loyal viewers.
Yeah. So create targeted paid search ads, localized SEO, social media targeted ads there, some Reddit, and looking for targeted podcasts and additional relevant content like that, right? Chris, what else you got? I keep going back to here to close.
Well, you cover everything so well. It just leaves me with not much to say. So I think
we're if you're looking for more information, where can these guys find us?
Well, you guys can leave a comment on Instagram, YouTube. You can email us at info@oeminteractive.com. We're on Twitter. Give us a shout. Facebook, SoundCloud. We're pretty much everywhere. So we'll make it easy for you guys to communicate with us.
Lots of places. All right, that's episode 27.